Morning, everybody. Good moaning. How are you, moaners? Fellow moaners, how's the life with you?
I'm so happy it's the moaning that my nipples are going to burst.
Oh, God. I've got coffee in a goddess cup, which is highly unusual.
Why?
Because what's this cup for?
Mindfulness and calmness.
Exactly, and I've got caffeine into it.
Well, why don't you do a decaf? That would make sense. Decaf's pointless. Decaf's is for
Sometimes
wimps.
I like it when I want that like sweet coffee feeling, but I don't want the caffeine. Like if I'm out to dinner, after dinner, and I want a coffee, I have a decaf.
Decaf is like an empty promise. It's like a hollow experience. It's like a really unsatisfactory.
Is it like wearing a condom?
Without doing anything on it, with it, in it, at it.
What's that series I was watching yesterday with Kiki? What's it called?
Love Island USA.
No. With the guys and the radio, the pirate radio. It's massive.
Oh, the comedy. Yeah, no, it's very good. Netflix comedy. Yeah, they did a movie of it. It's very good.
They did a Netflix movie of it. It's a series, and they have a pirate radio, and they're these like rubbish rap artists. Though I kept saying, "Oh God, I quite like their rap." I keep going, No, it's really not good.
It's good morning, James Flanagan. How are you, my friend?
Anyway, there was a great line in it yesterday. Kiki and I both wrote it down, but then I accidentally deleted it. And he said, "I've worked out what hormones are. Yeah, they're balls of rage.
Balls of rage. But have you had ragey balls?
No,
that's not something I want to talk about. No. What was the thing we were talking about? Oh my god. We hooked into and watched the first of. I keep wanting to call it Mum. It's such a bad title.
Your mum. I'm sorry,
I don't like the title.
Hang on, Your Mum, My Dad. So we wanted to watch both episodes yesterday, but we couldn't because our kids want to watch the second episode.
Has anyone seen it?
Straight off the bat, I love it. I absolutely love it. Davina is so lovely, but my jealousy was beyond anything I could cope with yesterday. I would love to do that show because you're talking to the kids and the parents. Of course, she's gorgeous and she's fabulous, and I would never even consider something like that. But oh my God, I did have bad envy yesterday.
Did you?
Sorry, Davina. She did it beautifully, and the show is just great.
I love the balance of. I love the fact that they kept the kids. I love the fact that they are going to clearly allow the kids to have some kind of control. What I liked about it, which I don't think I've ever seen, because I was expecting it to be a little bit like Love Island, sort of like smash them. I'm sure it's going to get more tense, and it's going to get more difficult, and people are going to start to play games and all that kind of stuff. But I liked anything that makes different generations review or look at older or younger generations in a more caring or sort of, honest fashion.
So beautiful. What I loved about it yesterday is that everyone could talk. They were having conversation. It wasn't all just.
I love the fact that all the kids were driving their parents.
All the kids. I loved all the children. I loved the relationships that we saw just in that short drive. Obviously, we don't know that much because we only watched episode 1. So for me, headline is what I loved about it was there was heart and warmth and family involved in it.
We're going to do a review of the first couple. We're going to do a chat about the first couple of episodes maybe later. And we've also watched episodes 3 and 4. A number of you were asking about The Woman in the Wall. We've watched them, and a review will be landing, and we'll be back on a live review on Sunday, episode 5. So look, Natasha Milchin says in respect to that, my daughter is nagging me to get on Tinder. Why don't we all watch episode 3 tonight? And then do a chat about. No, it's episode 2 last night. Episode 3 tonight. We couldn't watch episode 2, so we'd have to watch episode 2 with Kiki.
Oh, I see. There's an episode tonight.
There's one every night. Yeah. So why don't we watch episode 3 tonight, and then we could all hook up. So if you've got some time today, go to BBC ITV iPlayer, ITVX, and watch episode 1 and 2,
and catch up with us, and we could do a live chat.
Do a live chat afterwards, because I think it's a really. I was really pleasantly surprised by how. A, how nicely made it was. B, how thoughtful some of the kind of what I call pinch points were in terms of, where they're what they're going to get people to do.
It's a nicely made program.
That's what I just said. Where they're constructed, how they construct the reality, how they construct the relationships. I really, really thought it was quite classily done. And plus, also, I've never seen wisteria like it.
The production values were great. The editing was lovely. Really nice. The lighting was great. The music, and it was, what I liked? It was very much
Sorry,
you know when they say, that there's so few programs that you can watch now as a family. That is that bam, bam, bam. It hits all the points that you want.
8 to 82 is what commissioners are after. That's their idea. That's why the one show is reasonably successful.
But you can just end up with something really bloody bland with that.
Well, it's it's the fact that the 16-year-old last night said, "Don't watch the next one without me." That's a good sign. That is an achievement. So we're going to talk about that. There was something else I was going to say. Emily Page, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. We'll sing you happy birthday at the end. Why were we talking about nipples? Oh, we weren't. Sorry, I thought we were. We were we? Did I mention nipples? Did we talk about nipples?
Balls, but not nipples.
Balls. We talked about balls. Oh, condoms. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Did any other men here, when I was younger, someone must have really wound me up. Someone led me to believe that you had to put a condom on at the beginning of a night.
Oh, no.
And
you're joking.
And wait. I didn't do it, but I thought, because it would just come. I thought you put it on at the beginning of an evening.
But can you put a condom on a flaccid penis? Or would you have had to have kept an erect penis all day? And can that be done?
That detail hadn't been discussed. So yes,
well, that's the first thing
you would have tried to have got it on a flaccid penis. Would have been odd. So I thought you dressed for the evening.
Oh,
someone said that to me.
Well, and on that, we're going to be talking about the pressure of having sex on aeroplanes as well a bit later. Yeah. Sex on planes.
What goes up must come down.
Yeah,
turbulence.
That's so funny. You thought you had to put it on it.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. It was, and then I think I realised quite quickly you can't do anything. There's a bloody squirrel. Really, look at it, digging a hole.
Oh my God, he's in your pot.
He's in the pot, getting my nuts out. Anyway, there we go. You're a wild man, Mark. Could you imagine going out? It would have been so uncomfortable. Any men here would know how deeply uncomfortable that would have been for the entire evening.
Karen, too many questions at once, Mark. They don't know which one to answer.
Oh,
have you ever done it? Have you ever?
No, sorry. Siobhan Jordan, oh my God, did you really believe it, Mark? Yes.
Yeah, because if you don't know,
yeah, I think I did.
Like we all used to think blowjobs, you had to blow.
Blowjobs, you have to blow. You don't have to speak quietly, babe. Oh, Paddy. Sorry. I thought you did blow.
No, but why is it called? No, but the first time I'm not going to talk about that, but I was under the mistake, under the illusion.
You were under something else.
Under something else that you had to blow on the bloody thing.
Okay. Let's move on to we have a couple of serious. Well, we have a serious story today, which is all about young girls' happiness. We are going to be talking about a woman who was sick to death of dating apps, so she took different measures to try and find herself a man. We're also going to talk about the Mile High Club. We were going to do this yesterday before our tech wipeout. So we're going to be talking about the Mile High Club and just and do you know what a champagne handshake is?
No.
Or do you know what a champagne hand bath is?
Starting to sound disgusting.
Okay, I'm going to tell you.
God, do we have to? Is anybody eating?
Anyone?
You should ask people first if they're eating.
Cover your
what
ears.
is this going to be?
Cover your ears. Zoe Agnew, cover your ears.
First of all, does anyone know what the hell he's about to say?
A champagne hand
Oh, no,
bath.
I don't like the sound of this.
They say it in Love Island. So I'm going to give you a blow by blow account, Joni. And for anyone who's of a nervous disposition, you may want to just sort of, I don't know, mute it or kind of put your fingers in your ears. Don't put anything else in your ears, though. And don't put a condom on your flaccid penis.
No, because it won't stay on and then you'll be in trouble. Yeah.
So this is a hand job that at the point of ejaculation...
Oh, Mark!
Hang on.
You said ejaculation!
I know. The thumb is placed over the tip.
Oh, right.
So hang on.
What would be clever now is if you didn't say anything else.
No.
That would be clever. Because everybody knows. That would be clever. That would be cool. Because you're not going to the next stage.
No, but there's a detail that is something that women need to know.
Why? Hang on a minute. Why do women need to know? It's your penises. Why do we need to know?
This is someone else doing the champagne hand job. Champagne. What's it called? Handshake. No. So with the finger on the tip,
oh God,
it sprays obviously.
Apple crumble, thank you.
But it doesn't come out, and apparently it's agony.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Anyway, the reason
is this a thing, guys? Is this an actual thing?
Fork, Claire
Fork.
LC. You've been with us a long time, Claire
Anybody,
LC.
anybody that might be new, we have a safe word, which is trampled all over, actually.
I thought it was going to be trampoline.
Apple crumble and fork when Mark goes too far.
Fork.
Catherine says, happy hump day, Mark.
Happy is it Happy Hump Day? No, there is a reason I'm mentioning this, because air hostesses say that things like the champagne hand bath are one of their occupational hazards when it comes to the Mile High Club. It's less about people actually having sex.
That's
okay. And also,
should have had a bloody warning before that.
And we're also going to talk briefly about
somebody said it's agonising.
Absolutely agonising. What?
Why is it agonising? Well, I suppose you're stopping a force of nature.
You're stopping an ejaculation,
Mark, right. If you say that one more time, I'm going to leave. I mean it.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so let's talk about, and also, as I said, we're going to talk about Joe Biden.
Louise Bate, who wants that to spray?
Exactly. And well, I have an and finally, but I don't know if it's the kind of and finally that Nad's. I love my not understand. Have you got an and finally today?
I didn't know we were doing StreamYard.
It doesn't have to be StreamYard. It's just a heartwarming and
finally. I will have that one. Then I'll have loads of heartwarming stories.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this. This is a serious report from the Girl Guiding, from the Girl Guides, is it? Yeah, the Girl Guides. A report suggesting that young girls are the most miserable that they've ever been.
Dipped to their lowest in 15 years. And this is around fears of sexual harassment and unrealistic beauty expectations coming right to the top of the list, which we on here have had an ongoing conversation about, haven't we? About that.
Less than a fifth. So 2,600 girls or thereabouts took part in the survey. Less than a fifth described themselves as very happy, with 89% saying they felt generally worried or anxious. Can I just say something?
You've described yourself as very happy as a teenager, though.
I'm pleased you asked that, because the one thing...
the nature of being a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a really, really pointless question, happiness questions, like to that extent, because we also can't sell our kids a pup that life is about just being happy.
I say on a regular basis to our children, happiness is about moments. It's not about all day or week or month or year. It's about moments. And yes, when people say, I just want my child to be happy, we have to say, I want my child to have many happy moments, because there can almost be a pressure to be happy. And I think when you're that sort of age and there's so many questions going on in you and so many thousands of thoughts and insecurities and fears, to also put onto them that you have to be happy and you have to be this amount happy can actually be another pressure. It's like yesterday I was having a conversation with one of our daughters and I was saying, yes, this will be nerve-wracking. Yes, this is scary. Yes, this moment is... But it will move on and you'll move into another feeling and another moment and then good ones and bad ones. And so I don't like that question and I don't like that just as a whole suggestion. But I totally recognise that since the pandemic,
that's a horrible fact.
It was bad before the pandemic, but since the pandemic, too many young women that I talk to or women that have daughters are saying it has become untenable.
What?
The amount of sexual harassment.
Right, yeah. Well, some statistics out of this
mad.
are, shockingly, the number of 13 to 21-year-olds who've received sexist comments has doubled since 2018. More than 2/3 of 11 to 16-year-old girls said boys at their school made toxic comments about girls, while 44% said boys had made comments that made them feel scared for their actual safety.
Yeah, so that's like taking photographs of their skirts, which we talked about last week. That is like airdropping pornography when you're in a class. That is rubbing up against you on the bus, on the tube. That is screaming at you whilst you're just standing on the bus stop, trying to get to school, trying to get to college, and a van full of men will scream out something, and on and on and on and on and on. And it matters. It impacts. It leaves you feeling somehow unsafe and questioning. However much we say it is not your fault, it's their fault, you question yourself. Every time something happens to you, you question yourself. And this stuff happens to men as well. This does happen to
men.
Not in the
I was
same
just about
numbers.
to say a number of people here are asking about boys. Look,
and boys.
And I think we talk a lot more than maybe a lot of other people do about the fact that boys get missed out in a lot of this stuff, i.e. often marginalised or targeted as the cause of the problem. We're very much fans of the idea that you have to engage with and discuss with.
Boys,
and
I think
boys have to solve it too.
I think young boys are completely in a terrible state with what is being pushed on them. For me, it is a sexual assault in a way when they're forced to watch pornography by their peer groups before they're ready. I've spoken before about this years ago when a family member of ours said, he went to this sleepover and these boys were playing this porn, and he said it has affected him for the rest of his life. What he saw, it's affect everything. So I think that they are vulnerable in a different way, but they are vulnerable.
I mean, one of the things that I think really creeps into this whole thing.
This is a report by the Girl Guides. That's why it's going to be about girls.
Something that really creeps into this that's really important for me. And I think there was that drama we saw that do you remember the drama set in the school where the boy? Yeah. I think one of the problems for men and boys is that we can view toxic masculinity in young enough boys as a consequence of their upbringing and something they're not responsible for. We can have compassion and we can have understanding and we can explain and we can potentially think about, well, this is why this is happening. This is awful. This toxic masculinity is coming from something. And I want to read the Steph Whelan thing at the end of this. But there necessarily comes a point as a father of daughters where I can do all the understanding in the world, but when that impinges and encroaches upon the safety, welfare, and happiness of my children, I don't give a toss how old they are. And I don't want to know any of the finer details about the individual case because I just want to get them away from my child as soon as possible. And also, I think the problem is societally and culturally, we can't have this system where boys on a conveyor belt up until the age of, let's say 14, on a conveyor belt up until the age of 14, holding these values are themselves victims. And then literally at the point of 14 happens, they're all responsible, they're all culpable, and they're all damnable and dismissible. What I'm trying to say is I understand why that happens as a father to daughters, because I do that and I'm in that position.
You do sympathy and everything.
I worry, how do we get to those boys, which is why Potato Face is so popular, those boys that tip past a point where they're not young enough to be able to be sort of looked after or taught or educated, but they're too old and they're kind of caught within the trap of toxic masculinity. Steph Whelan says,
yeah, I like it.
Doesn't surprise me. As a secondary school teacher, the misogyny our young boys have now is scary, and senior team do nothing when we flag it up. I feel so sorry for young girls today.
And do you know what? I feel sorry for teachers.
Yeah, totally.
For teachers that are aware of it and are aware of Andrew Potato Head and how that toxic thinking has leaked in to our boys' minds and souls. And when you're not being given as teachers, clear guidance on how you can deal with that must be so frustrating for you. By the way, what a lovely little baby. I love seeing people's faces up there.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm sorry, I know some of you don't like it, but I do, so we're going to keep doing it.
Faith Goodman, boys have a lot of pressure on them too. It's not all girls are innocent angels. No, you're absolutely right. Francesca Bastos, I'm part of a feminist group about harassment and femicide, and we've also been noticing the rise in numbers also means that girls are more empowered to admit and open up and say me too. Amy May,
there's good
on
news.
On bus from a college, a 50-year-old man asked me on a date. I said no. He got off of my stop to follow me home, but he told me where he was going, so I stood still and told him directions away from my house. Bloody hell.
This is regularly, isn't it, Amy? This is like all the time.
Look at
every day, young women, and older women are facing these kind of I don't like all these new words like microaggressions and all this, but there is actually something in that.
Yeah.
That's a microaggression that feels incredibly aggressive and terrifying when you're standing with the guy. We've had that with our girls, shall I walk you home? It's like they say, what, are they fucking serious that they think I'm going to say yes? And it is all the older ones.
Yeah, it really is. Look at Catherine Cronin. Look at this. God, I don't remember this. It's always been in the culture. Splash was a huge movie, and John Candy's character is a gross upskirter in it. Is he? Isn't that just shows you just the normalisation back there?
When I first joined EastEnders and I'd gone from being a theatre actress, touring around in a bus. Oh my God, sorry, that reminded me of my nightmare last night. It was a nightmare that went on and on and on and on. That I was on stage and I'd forgotten my lines. And usually when you forget your lines on a show, somebody will pick it up. It's amazing, actors amazing, and then they improvise. But my brain had completely, it was totally blank. It just went on forever. But anyway, sorry, I digress.
Grab a coffee.
But when I first joined EastEnders, and I was so naive because I'd only been a theatre actress. I'd done a couple of bits of television where you looked after in a different way. And I think the first big event I went to was Barbara Windsor's, a big party for Barbara Windsor. And I wore this sort of, I think it was kind of that sort of length properly. I've never worn really short skirts. I suppose because if you're wearing a much shorter skirt, you're going to be a little bit like, oh God, I must be. So I just get out of this car at this big event, there's paps everywhere, and there was all these photos done up my skirt. And I was so shocked.
By the paps, they used to do it at the bottom of cars.
They're not allowed to do that anymore. But also I remember at school when you'd be running around and boys would just get your whole skirt and lift it up over your head like that, and you'd be screaming and running. And it was so embarrassing. But imagine that happening now, and then there's a photograph, and then the photograph gets passed around to everybody. So it is worse. It's much worse. The thought of how much I used to hate it when boys did that. The thought that there would then be a photograph that would be passed around to everyone till the end of time.
I was just thinking about that. I remember. I mean, I used to be a friend of mine. A friend of mine's brother was one of the most prolific snappers for one of the tabloids. And when I think back, do you remember there was a vogue for getting photographs of women as they came up, got out of cars with their legs crossing and uncrossing, to see literally the photographs would be put in the papers, quite literally wearing no knickers. When they would.
But it was made illegal. But now it's worse than ever because everybody can be a pap. And you could be in school being papped up your skirt.
Jesus.
So
I ain't going to feel nostalgic about Splash anymore. Anyway, but look, for parents of boys, let's not tie all brushes with the same boys. Carol, hi Carol. A lot to do with upbringing. Totally agree.
We'll never do
all to do with upbringing. Carol, 2 sons, 4 grandsons who are fab and feeling protective. Now, of course you are, sweetie.
Listen. Absolutely, we would hate for you to even think for 1 second we are. No, Carol, we are not. With us for years, we constantly say poor boys, poor boys, poor boys. They're being. And there are so many lovely boys that our kids' friends, and, they just come in one after another and they're just so lovely. And I feel really sorry for the boys that aren't given guidance and behave badly, because I tell you what, underneath they are lovely. They are lovely. It's just, are they being given enough of a chance?
Exactly. So there you go. But yeah, as you say, Nads, the reason we're focusing on girls, it was the girls' guides.
Yeah, exactly. That's
right. Let's do the Mile High Club. And before we do the Mile High Club and talk about it, the Mile High Club, for anyone who doesn't understand. Oh, sorry, let me just quickly read Christos's comment. Hi, Christos. Societal, cultural, family values, not in all families, have been so blurred in the last years. And as a result, many behaviours have been sadly following that trajectory. Absolutely, for sure. So the Mile High Club is the idea that you belong to this exclusive elite that's managed to have sex, or perhaps, never know, a champagne hand bath in the skies, up in the clouds. And I think you said earlier today, there's a huge amount of pressure to feel that you ought to have done something at a certain point in your, when you're a young adult and you sort of, not like I say huge pressure.
Like you, put your condom on before you went out.
Put your condom on before you get on board. Yeah, you don't know what sort of turbulence you're going to get. So anyway, so this, and it's is it an urban myth? Have any of you actually managed to have sex in the skies? Anyway, the reason for this story, we're going to talk about this yesterday. Have a look at this though, Nads. This will get you going. Oh, quick! No. He's in shock.
That's horrific.
It's about it.
They hadn't locked the door open.
Listen to
these people.
He's really actually quite. He looks really embarrassed.
Well, because it's
I tell you what got me most about that footage.
I think we should have had a warning there.
I think it's pixelated, but the thing that got me most about that footage is neither of them jump out of the position to.
Makes me wonder if they'd done that on purpose.
Do you think?
I mean, why wasn't the door locked? Why was he making sounds like that?
No. But the attendants can do the unlock thing quickly. Yeah, they've got the thing to just flick it or flick it down. Why did they open the door on them? That's a bit of a violation. That's interesting. Spinner's End, 77. Do you have the right?
I don't think it's a violation.
Do you not? No,
no,
I don't. No, I don't. But it's interesting that someone does.
Yeah, no, I don't. I love that you've said that though, because I hadn't even thought about that. So it's interesting. We love it when you disagree with us.
Hang on,
guys,
Edward Bevington. I've got to pop yours up. Look.
I've been taken off again. We love it when you disagree with us because it makes us think the other way. Is it a violation? Personally, I think not. You are not. There are certain codes of decency, behaviour, public decency, right? There are laws against it. And if you don't know that is indecent to do that, like if I'd been sitting right by that toilet hearing that, I would have felt sick. I don't want to hear it. I like public displays of affection, cuddling, holding hands, but I don't want to see people snogging. I don't want to see people, that's for somewhere else. I feel really strongly about that. If that was our daughters were with us.
Carla Hatcham, it's common. Loads of people do it. Chesa Babes, I don't even like having a wee in flight.
It stinks in there.
Yeah, that's disgusting. And I tell you something else as well. You don't want to be in a certain compromising position and accidentally press the flush because you don't know what could be sucked out. Dawny Harvey, horrible. There wasn't room to jump out. Oh, look at her thumbnail.
Oh, thanks, Dawny.
So why is this a thing? Apparently there's a whole private jet flight company that flies you up into the sky called the Mile High Club. They have beds in there and you all have sex. In Las Vegas, hen do's and stag do's go up into the sky. But
that is not the point, is it? The point is that you've stolen away and you've done this. And I remember thinking, from a late teen, from whenever I started having sex, oh God, at some point I've got to do this thing and I try and have.
That's interesting. Did you feel that as a real thing?
Because it was like,
yeah, I think
because when you're just trying to find your own sexuality and there's all this pressure, isn't there, that you have to do, outside, you have to be exciting and interesting and risque. And I was like, oh God, I really bloody don't want to.
Unless you get home with pine cones in your knickers, you haven't had a good time. Yeah, I know what you mean. I've had pine cones in my pants.
You've never done it on a plane, have you? No, but you picked someone up on a plane.
Yes. And I never realised I got I was given the number by a Virgin Airways flight attendant. They're not supposed to fraternise. I didn't realise it's an absolute no that they're not supposed to flirt or have any. But no, nothing ever happened on board a flight. But there was always someone in your group that claimed not only had they done it, but they'd done it with remarkable kind of prowess. And
I think a lot of times people are showing off. I'm just trying to see if I managed to do that where anyone can tell me.
Zoe Agnew says, are people that bloody desperate? Reese Roberts says...
it's desperate to show off and say that you're just like, you're just so out there.
Look, Reese, also on an airplane, very pragmatic, Reese. The risk is so great that any sense of disturbance has to be swooped down on for everyone's safety. So that will be their reason for opening the door, probably. What the hell is going on in there? On Qatar Airlines, there are double beds in the cabin in business class with screens around them, aren't there?
Really?
Qatar Airlines. Qatar.
Really?
I'm
Qatar?
But
you're not even allowed to kiss in Qatar.
I don't think less about sex,
you might have misunderstood.
No, but maybe that's about sleeping, is it? Faith Goodman, I don't know.
I think you misunderstood what the screen's for. It's definitely for sleeping, for privacy. It's not for sex.
How do you think?
I mean, you could get arrested. You could land in Qatar and end up in prison.
Really?
I'm telling you, be careful with that. How is it again that I see? Because I asked the question on my stories. I can't remember how you see. No, not there, Dan.
Yeah.
No, but it's not that story.
No, I know. You go along. And then...
No, it's all right. I did all that. No. Sorry. It just took ages. Yeah. And they're waiting. You carry on and I'll see if I can find it.
Okay, well, that's kind of it. In terms of... So, guys, what should have happened to them? They landed in Ibiza, and there was no talk about whether anyone was arrested. But I suppose, again, if it's happening privately in a bathroom, I mean, do you have to have some kind of bylaw or rule saying more than one person is not allowed in a cubicle? So,
but you're not allowed. I mean, there is the actual look. But I suppose if you're across countries, it wouldn't be like if you're mid-air. Our laws here about public decency wouldn't be valid.
But
surely there's laws of the air.
There will be laws of the air. Of course there are. They're air laws for God's sake. You know.
Oh, I can't find it. If anyone left me their story on
someone somewhere. Oh, the romance of a chemical toilet. Absolutely. Okay, let's have a look at
dating.
The dating. So
lives on nicely, I think, from Sex in the Airways.
Woman sick of dating.
Oh God, isn't she beautiful? So no, this woman was out with her friends. Oh God, of course she has to look like a blooming supermodel.
I was about to say, suddenly I'm immediately, isn't it terrible how one beautiful privilege, is it pretty privilege? I just suddenly go, she can't have problems with dating.
Well, that's totally ridiculous.
No, I know.
Like a friend of mine was saying the other day, she's new on apps. She's very young actually. She's somebody that works at the studios, and she was saying that she'd gone on to this app and she was looking at all the guys, and they were all like just so like hardly bothered, like lying down, taking. And so she thought she would just have a look and see what all the girls' profiles were. She goes, every one of them was gorgeous, had made the effort, was like full power. It was just shocking, the difference. So this woman had been sat with her friends and she said, oh my God, I would rather, she's having real trouble in New York, getting a good date, finding anybody nice. Is it in New York where there's so many more women than men?
No, absolutely.
So she said, I'd rather hold up a placard advertising myself than go on a dating app. So she did. And she got this placard. Look, there she is. Woman sick of dating. What did it say on it? I can't remember what it actually said on it. Looking for a husband, was it?
Looking for a husband.
Yeah. She didn't want to waste her time on dating apps and all these people looking. So she got lots of attention and lots of people. I mean, I admire her courage, because of course I would immediately think, because I live in a place of fear too much, I suppose, would it get a bloody weirdo? But there's plenty of other people that are looking. Oh, look, this guy carried her off. But anyway, she is seeing someone now.
Yeah, she says she met someone through it.
So Zoe.
Zoe, would you do this? Could you look, Zoe? I think you need to do it on your TikTok. Do it.
Maybe we should do that with you, Zoe, and have this whole load of security.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking perhaps it would be good for the channel, for our followers, if we split up and then dated, so we could actually find out what it's like. I think we should go back out into the dating market.
I would rather stick hot needles in my eyes than go on a date.
I think we should also try and join the Mile High Club. I mean, there's so many things we could do.
What about lots of walking placards? Yeah, maybe we should go back to the markets where we're selling ourselves. But like you say, to Clapham Common on this day at whatever, women come forward. Nobody approach them unless they are unless you've made an effort, you've brushed your teeth, you've got a clean shirt on.
Yeah.
You could give all these rules, and then just all these women walk around saying just one thing that they want.
Sadie C, but weirdos.
Weirdos.
I met my husband on Dating Direct Online, says Cheza Babes. We've been together 14 years, married for 7. Best thing we did. My husband says best £40 subscription fee ever spent.
And we do know lots of people that have got together and have happy relationships on dating apps. So it is not all bad. As I always say, how did we used to meet people at our age? In clubs. Yeah. Well, what's the difference?
Swingers parties. Yeah. It's always you find someone. Or
the difference is that you're so dispensable with a dating app, because they can just you can be on the date with them and they just think, let's have a look.
But I think the dating app thing, it's a little bit like, because we can order takeaway and any food you want to come to the house, one has a more cursory attitude to food and a more cavalier and a more disposable approach to it. This is where I genuinely think the dating app problem creeps in for men and women, is there's the dismissibility factor, because it's become like shopping and online shopping and swiping, it through no fault of anyone's own, it's not necessarily your fault. You're pushed into a position of looking at a menu of people.
I've said it before, and I know it's boring and I know it's difficult and I couldn't have done it. But I think if you look for dating apps where people are sober, you're going to find a very different class of people. I honestly, because that wonderful guy that I love, I can't remember his name now, from the dating show, he said, just try as hard as you can. On your first few dates, don't drink. Don't drink. And if it's scary and if you feel vulnerable and if you don't like stuff, you will shine through. Your actual self will shine through. And if somebody is brave enough to sit opposite you sober, they're gonna have more depth to them. I'm sorry, they are. So if it's failing, look for
go to an AA meeting. Go to an AA meeting. Honestly, so many people meet in AA. So many people do.
Because what happens as well at an AA meeting is people are talking about themselves, so you get to find out about them.
I'm not suggesting for a minute you go to an AA meeting to look for a potential partner, but I'm telling you now, I know lots of people, in the past who met through AA.
Because you're having to be your true self, not pretend to be somebody you're not.
The downside of that is I also know of two situations where recovering alcoholics met in AA and then relapsed together, and it was a whole other heap of hell. I can tell you that. I just want to quickly talk about Joe Biden.
It don't even have to be somebody that was an alcoholic, just somebody that is sick and tired of the merry-go-round of being pissed and having a shit day.
Steph Schultz, we're going to talk about My Mum, Your Dad tonight after episode 3's gone out.
There's now there's the Sober Society Club, isn't there, where they've got that really nice off license in town, and they put on all sorts of events. They put on loads of nights.
Oh yeah, it's in Covent Garden. It's the road. I think it's Endell Street. Actually, it's just
another place. You might go once, see nobody.
Not that I've been there,
but that might be a better place for people to meet people as well. Certainly in London.
Yeah, meeting in places like that though can be trauma bonding. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It can be trauma bonding. Okay, Joe Biden.
I love a bit of trauma bonding.
Joe Biden. Question marks around Joe Biden's mental state. He's
Wouldn't it be nice to have one president where we don't do this the entire time?
The Evening Standard has run a piece saying Joe Biden is no longer mentally well enough to be president. I just thought, well, we were all clamouring, weren't we, to prove that Trump was mad, and the jury's out on that still, obviously.
Well, in my opinion, he is a complete and utter
narcissist.
Yeah.
But this is the most recent Joe Biden one.
Let's see. I'm just following my orders here.
His family.
Have a game plan. He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
Now, you can have empathy and sympathy for him as a man, empathy and sympathy for his family and him within his family. As soon as he's the president of the United States, like someone said the other day, we said it on Saturday Coffee Moaning Papers, some other Republican Senate member said something like, the Senate is like the most privileged old people's home on the planet, and they're making these vital decisions.
Who's the other guy, the Republican that keeps having episodes?
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah. I mean,
Faith Goodman, why did the USA
it's
not like
royalty.
Kamala?
It's like
weird.
royalty where you can't get rid of them.
Is Kamala Harris in a room?
And there is a point where you have to say, I am. It's like when, at a certain age, you have to say, I'm not quite safe enough to drive this car. Exactly. And what you're doing is you're driving the world as the president. You put the whole world in a precarious position when you do not have the cognitive function to make the right decisions. And I mean, I'm afraid it's just all about power, isn't it? Nobody wants to, it's like the Republicans are just going to support Trump no matter what he does because it gets them back in power, and it's just shameful.
America is sleepwalking. Someone needs to be thinking a little one step ahead, the whole thing with Trump, because if they double down too hard and too fast with him, they are literally going to usher him into office through him he's not having to campaign at all. He's winning hands down.
He whipped up enough hate for Capitol Hill to be attacked.
But even if he goes down for that, he could still win.
And I just can't, just listening to this podcast again of the actual detail of all of what happened there and listening to him rabble-rousing and the blind faith of these people. And some of those people now that are serving very long sentences, and I've listened to their interviews, and you think, you poor soul, because actually you had additional needs. You didn't know what you were doing. He completely manipulated you. And they're in, some of them are in jail for 20 years. And to hear their confessions and them in tears and thinking they were doing exactly what was right because that was sold to them.
Tez, yeah, Kamala. I'm sure in America maybe you are getting that. We don't get any sense of Kamala Harris at all. Tez says Kamala does enough. How much more do you want from a VP? Okay, well that's good to hear. The other,
she never gets any press here at all. We never see her. We never hear from her, do we? And we were so excited about her because what I would like to be feeling is that she could possibly take the reins.
Silkani says, just to add context, that it was after he'd been traveling. Look, yeah, he's tired, he's old, but these are big questions. Though, should you have a tired?
What if nuclear war possibility happens after his bedtime?
And someone else says he's not running the country himself. He's not, but if the narrative you want to give to the world is this is our leader, I think it needs to be some. But you've got Kim Jong-un and Putin hanging around on a balcony, measuring and comparing each other's missiles.
They're meeting on an island today to share weapons. Yeah. You know, it's extremely, the world is just so precarious.
They're doing swapsies. Okay,
we need somebody that can be woken up in the middle of the night if there's an emergency and be able to function. And he can't.
And finally, a window was left open on an apartment for 4 weeks, and the pigeons did this in 4 weeks. Look at that. Ooh. Isn't that hideous? Quite the coup. Horrific damage left by a group of pigeons who moved into an East London flat after the tenants left their patio door open. So don't leave your doors open, guys. Otherwise, pigeons will come in and do all that. So there you go. Is that then finally?
Are you serious?
Is that what you
That's
mean,
not heartwarming.
No,
that's horrible.
Okay.
It's absolutely horrible.
So we're now going to head off. Do not engage in any champagne hand baths. They sound agonising. What you've learned today is don't do that. Also, don't put a condom on at the beginning of an evening.
That won't work.
It'll lead you nowhere. And don't believe anyone who says they've been part of the Mile High Club, apart from that couple there. We've got a happy birthday. Is there anything else?
Emily, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Emily. Happy birthday to you. And also, guys, don't forget, if you want to join the family guest area, as I suggested on my stories, we've been going there for 3 years now, and we said we would never charge more than $1.99 a month, and we have kept our promise. And you get lots of lovely extra content there. The Sunday show is, you know, a really
nice,
juicy bit of content. You get cooking, you get book reviews, you get Maddie and Mark, which I think is just such a beautiful moment in the show. Not a moment; it's quite a chunk. It's great. And
sister in there.
You get all sorts of stuff in there.
Yeah.
And it really is lovely, because sometimes people say, "Oh, that thing that we're talking about." New people don't realise we have the family guest area as well. Yeah. And anyone that joins the family guest area, you get your own lovely little welcome song from
if us. It happens in a live like this.
And lots of people have made their ringers, haven't they? Their phone ringers.
They're ringers, have they?
But yeah, so if you join and then we don't know, tell us here that you've just newly joined and we'll sing you the song.
And also every 10 to 14 days or so, it's not religious because we can't give the guarantee, but there will also be a members live where you get the chance to win cards, and there's also photo caption competitions and all that kind of stuff. So load of cards are going out again. Hopefully you're getting them all, and
got a pile of them there ready to go.
And so that's
also just another thing. Quite often people say, "Oh, I didn't know you were live." So hit the subscribe button, but also hit the notification bell. That will notify you when we're going live. Sometimes it fucks up with YouTube.
There are 3 settings. Sometimes, never, always. If you do always, you'll always get them. And always check the community tab for updates too. You'll get notified there.
Sharon Pritchard never got her welcome song. We will sing you one right now, Sharon Pritchard. Sharon Pritchard, Sharon Pritchard, Sharon Pritchard.
Sharon Pritchard.
Welcome to the family guest area.
Guys, lots and lots of love. We're going to be doing an update with Nanny Di very soon. We've got lots to tell you there. So sending all our love to Nanny Di. And we are now going to press end, and we're going to sit here like a couple of numpties just looking at you.